It is not an easy return market. That is, you don't get an easy return here. It's extremely risky. As I indicated in January 2022, 18.9 million Bitcoins have already been issued with about only 2.1 million Bitcoins still to be released. As we discussed, it is as of today, I just checked before the session, it is now 19.1 million as of today. So between Jan and now, only that much have been mined. Government always work to ensure preventing harm and promoting good. So we all think that why should cryptos being banned in India? It's preventing harm is the important change. It's very easy to get enticed. People have they kind of 1 in 10 can make money, 9 will lose money. So they need to ensure that they need to prevent the harm and promoting the good. That's what they are trying to do. Critics of blockchain. What are the other critics that are there? One, the peer-to-peer computer computation by which transactions are validated and verified requires significant amount of energy. Electricity is the biggest cost for this. As per 2021 study conducted by the English University, Cambridge, Bitcoin's consumption, it's a terawatt hours of 121 terawatt hours per year, which is more than the annual entire Argentina's consumption or even the consumption of just Netherlands, which is 121 terawatt. Imagine a country's consumption is what one company, one chain consumes. According to Digi Communist, one Bitcoin transaction requires about 700 kilowatt hours of electrical energy. The amount of energy the average US household consumes in 24 days. I mean, we are talking about carbon footprinting. The power it consumes and the heat it generates is substantially larger. So that's one of the things. So with this, we have seen about broadly an introduction about blockchain technology and about cryptocurrencies. You want any questions now, or we can maybe take the questions at the end? Because I'm going to the next section, next set of this thing about the coins and tokens. Maybe at the end we can take.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the Bitcoins, we all know about Bitcoin or whatever. They are all called crypto coins, which are nothing but our cryptocurrencies. So it operates on the blockchain only. It actually, when you say someone with Ethereum, that means the receipt goes to the Ethereum blockchain. The same person pays you back later with a Bitcoin. The receipt goes to the Bitcoin blockchain. That is between the coins, I can do the transaction there. While act as a money, that is crypto coin transactions are also handled by the blockchain primarily. While in case of tokens do not have their own blockchains. Instead, they operate on other crypto coins or blockchains or other blockchain networks. It need not be public, it can also be private blockchains. As I was telling you, it can be, that is, I need to create tokens not on my own, I can create on anybody's. So some of the commonly seen tokens are Ethereum, including BAT, PNT, Tether, and other stable coins. They are also called tokens here because they do allow what we call tokenization. They are nothing but they are not equivalent to money. While crypto coins and cryptocurrency act like money, even though they are not money. While in case of tokens rely on smart contracts. So they are an array of codes that facilitate trades or the payment between the users. And they put all the conditions in that smart contract. So for example, Ethereum uses ERC20 and NEO, which is actually another platform. They uses NEP5 like this. There are smart contracts which are coming into use. In India, we have not done much about it still. Only slowly it's now happening. There are slides on that. But globally, there are some amount of traction happening there in this regard. Traditional mining on the, while in case of coins, I can do the mining as I was explaining earlier about the proof of work system. The problem with this is that there are not many Bitcoins left to mine. So the process becomes much more arduous every day. While in case of tokens, it's physically moved from one place to another. Example is that non-fungible tokens. and they are one of the kind of items. So the change in ownership must be manually handled. For example, artistic, there are slides about NFTs. See, NFTs are created by people like Amitabh Bachchan, Sachin Tendulkar, artists. Luckily, now MF Hussain is not there. Otherwise, you would have created so many NFTs now. You have many things, even all this Sanjay Subramaniam can create NFT like that. That is one peculiar song, one song he takes in one raga and sings and make it as NFT token. That's a original work of him, artistic work of him, which he has done it uniquely. Anybody buying it can only listen to that. He can only buy that like that. So that's called NFT. So smart contracts, are they really smart? Actually, they are not. They are only contracts in the legal sense. They are more than a business rules translated into software. That's what important. So they are not smart contracts in the legal sense. They are only business rules translated into a software. In crudest way, it is nothing but a business rules automation software or stored procedures. That's why we call it a smart contracts. Smart contracts can support automating processes that stretch across corporate boundaries, involving multiple organizations, existing ways of automating business rules that can't do. For example, I set a business rule. How can a buyer, I'm a seller, my buyer can fulfill that by putting smart contracts, all the processes that I want to establish, business rules I want to establish can be put into the smart contract. So it becomes a business process. For example, I'm just thinking aloud. I'm going away slightly from the deck now just to explain this. For example, you are importing copper ore, for example, from some country. Normally, the copper ore is traded at the finished product price. That is, they say that whatever I produce out of the copper ore as a copper cathode, that will be picked to the LME price. And they will say it will be LME 2 mama. 2 mama means 2 months after material arrival. So these things today goes on a verbal or some written contract signed by people. If I put smart contracts in these cases, I know 2 months after the material arrival means 2 months after the bill of entry made. Bill of entry will also be done part of the smart contract. Automatically, there will be a billing. I can link it to the LME rate on that day. So the idea is after 2 months, you will be producing the cathode and selling the cathode. So for the guy who produces cathode, there's a natural edge in the LME price. So he will also be benefited in this. So he will sell at the LME price of the finished product. He will also buy the raw material, which he has bought already, but will be valued at the price at which the LME adjusted for the TCRC charges, we call it as, that is treatment charges and the refining charges. That is the price at which they will be buying the copper ore. The copper ore is at X dollar adjusted for TCRC and he sells at X dollar here. Then the difference is, though this the entire business rule today is happening in written agreements. If he is able to fulfill, he will fulfill and all that. And they also make assay. Assay means by which they determine what is the mineralogical content in that particular ore and how much is the copper content in that. So that will also vary. So all that can be put into the smart contracts today. There's some question which I'll answer, sir, definitely at the end. Smart contract codes is running atop on open blockchain ledger. Rules can be applied not only within the entity that coded the smart contract, but of the other business partners permitted to be on the blockchain. So I gave example of this. What are the critics of the blockchain? I think I've already spoken about it. Sorry. Coming to which country which has used blockchain extensively is Estonia. 99% of the government services today is on blockchain. Estonia is a country which is on the Europe map. If you see in the top, it's there, and its capital is called a city called Tallinn. Tallinn port handles maximum oil of exporting because every oil that comes from Scandinavian region gets exported to the entire European continent. So it's such a small country, but they do have huge transportation activity. From 1997, they started e-governance project, converted the whole thing into Up to 2001, 2, they were only in e-governance, like the way we are having a centralized mechanism. Then they moved to decentralized. Today, you just go and tell one citizen's name in Estonia, his entire horoscope is there with them. Health registry to property registry to business registry, succession registry, digital core system, government gazettes, anything and everything they keep it, including the passport, who are the people to whom they've given the visa, which are the countries the person has transferred, everything. So Estonia is one country which uses blockchain technology extensively, but they have not made any cryptocurrency as official currency. Okay, thoda garam pani. Sorry. So this is about blockchain, where it is being used in Estonia. Then what are the various crypto disrupting across the industry? So next 2-3 slides, I'm going to give some live examples what are happening in that. Case of social media, we all know about LinkedIn and Facebook. That is being disrupted. Imagine Facebook is being disrupted by Steemit and Heave. These are the crypto disruptors. In finance, we have various banks. Banks are going to be, actually banks will become history in next, I can say, next 10 to 15 years time in India at least. Because India will not go that far soon, but the blockchain adaptability will come definitely in India. Already government is working on that. Store of value, of course, today we have the gold. Even though I don't agree with regard to this Bitcoin or any of this, because as an economist in me, I feel that this cannot do anything that is not backed by an economy or backed by an asset base. You cannot call it as a currency. So I don't expect that, but of course, that's one of the thinking that is industry thinks about it. P2P payments, we all know Visa card and MasterCard are the two brands of the cards. Globally, people use this. Amex is a small portion. They are being disrupted. So Visa has already started working on the blockchain technology now. So DIM and Cello, all this, one of the guys who are, or these two are the guys who are working on that. Messaging, we all use as WhatsApp and also FB Messenger. They are all they are all working on the centralized server technology. These guys of Status and Labs have come in for the peer-to-peer. Even though our WhatsApp messages are encrypted, but they goes to server and then only goes to the end person. But in this peer-to-peer, it will be between two individuals. So if these are encrypted, only these two individual encryption can work. Nobody else can come into that. So it will be much more secure. Similarly, videos, we all use YouTube. That is threatened now. Theta, if you see, Theta is already there. There is already a beta version available. You can please Google it and see. EP is also, that is LiveP is what it's called. Okay, LiveP is also there. You can also test it out. Similarly, identity, similarly, marketplace, every area, browser. Brave browser is working on the same technology. So, I mean, even the storage, we have this Amazon Web Services, right? That is going to go off. There is a decentralized thing happening. So, unless these companies start working on blockchain as a technology, it's going to be a problem. Next important thing that we need to look at is decentralized finance, DeFi. That is what we call it as. How DeFi works is that they are lending platforms, or they are DXS means they are exchanges, online exchanges. Ethereum chain is only, because you see, everybody is working only on Ethereum chain, but only two guys are working on multi-chain. I explained about the that is why there is a multi-chain action available. In this, the third one, Aave is the best one that is providing lending in the United States right now. And also in partly they've started in Europe. This is a huge 100 billion today. They are into that effective tokens that they've given. Just a year back, it was 10 billion. So in the last 1 year, it has grown 21 to 22. It has grown like this today. Next year, they are expected to touch $1 trillion. That's a kind of galloping that they are doing. So this is going to change the way the corporates are raising money, funding. I said banks are going to be disrupted. Everybody was wondering why. Because I'm going to get money from some other sources. So decentralized finance, who are the people, activity, what are the projects that are happening? Stable coins, credit lending, as I said, compound and have all the two people who are doing the credit and lending. Derivative contracts are also being done through this. Insurance are also there. Asset management is also there. So these are some illustrations. Let me not get into the individual cases that we need to go in for. And one second, sir, Daniel G. Explode is here once again. Oh, here you are talking about easy. Okay, Estonia's Explode is nothing but the entire value chain with regard to the transportation part. As I was telling, they use the land transport extensively because the entire cargo that comes into that country, through that it passes to various countries in the entire Europe. They have introduced this Explode as a mechanism to monitor, including the toll conversion, and everything is happened through that. ICO. See, ICOs are something which, like IPO, fundraising. Simple agreement for future tokens. That is, people will not take money, they take only the contracts that are being done in this, where they source funds for startups. If there is a case that went up to the United States, this in court, Supreme Court, scholars Aves test has said that tokens and offerings that feature the market, the potential for profit based on the entrepreneurial or manager efforts of others contain the hallmark of a security under the law. So they said ICO as the quality of the word security. The minute they call it a security, SEC came into picture. So SEC, if you see here in 2017-18, onwards, they started doing it. In 18 alone, $7.8 billion were raised in ICO. That time, SEC was not there. The minute Supreme Court gave the order, like typically like India, all 19, it has become just 0.36 billion due to increased scrutiny from SEC. So SEC, why came in? Because of Supreme Court judgment that ICO is also a security. The minute it's called a security, they have to take, like the way in India we have SEBI, they have secure, they have SEC in America. They want to control that. So SEC required more entities to register offerings of ICO. Still, there are two methods to do without going to SEC. Okay. Generally, we people, as a CAs, we try to find out what are the kind of avenues available. SEC regulation A plus under the Jobs Act, what we call it as regulation A plus, and SEC regulation D, which is called as now regulation D. These are the conditions by which if you fulfill, if your offerings are within this limit, then you can go without going to SEC approval. I mean, this again, every country, there's no change in countries' approach, people's approach, because as I said, everybody wants to deviate from what the law expects us to do within the framework of law, wherever they've given exemptions. So how secured are these digital wallets, whatever we call it as? We all know, I don't know whether many of you know about this, this guy, Gerald Cotton, had a sudden death. He was the person who died with 190 million Canadian pounds, that is 145 million American dollars in Bitcoin and other digital assets protected by his password unretrievable. Without the digital keys, clients lose access to the entire digital. He was running a fintech company by name Quadriga CX. And it was a cryptocurrency exchange, like the trading exchange. The main guy had the clear password with him, and he had a massive heart attack and died. In 2019, the exchange ceased operations and the company was declared bankrupt despite having funds of so much, because the liabilities were substantially higher and they couldn't retrieve any of the assets. Because access to the wallets, an application that stores the key to send and receive the cryptocurrencies, appears to have been lost with the passing of the Quadriga chief, that one man who died on, imagine, December 9th, and from the complication of Crohn's disease, he was just 30-year-old man. I want to give you a sample of how this Ash algorithm works. I was talking about Ash algorithm, no? I'm just going to show the real Ash algorithm. This is an Ash calculator. It uses 256-bit or 32-byte Ash value. I'm just typing here, a small one. I love ICII Madurai. I'm just putting this. It's a text, okay? Calculate 256 Ash. You can see this is the Ash, right? Are you able to see the screen, right? I just change it in small words here. ICII-M. You just look at this and the way it changes. Completely unrelated. The text is same. How the Ash algorithm, for such a small one, I was telling in the beginning that the whole Ash works with the previous block's Ash, with the timestamp and the transaction details. So imagine what would be the length of the Ash that will be producing. Such a small words of I love ICII Madurai gets such a long Ash, and one put in capital and one put in small changes so much. Imagine how you can do that. So can anybody break this? That's it, gone. The entire money, 190 billion, gone with him. It's gone dead. Nobody is able to retrieve. Is blockchain really non-hackable? Hackers steal 600 million in major cryptocurrencies, according to BBC News. There was a news on this. Actually, it's a very interesting site. Poly Network said hackers had exploited a vulnerability in its system and taken thousands of digital tokens, such as Ether. The amount of money you have hacked is one of the biggest in decentralized finance history. Bitcoin, SV, Worlds, Ethereum classes are all examples of projects that have suffered 51% attack. An attack on a blockchain by a group of miners controlling over 50% of the network mining hash rate. The sum of all computing power dedicated to the mining and processing transactions is called 51% attack. That is, as I said initially itself, when I do a proof of work, who are the guys who can do proof of work? He needs to be an hacker. So if a handful of hackers take the control over that place and take beyond 50% of the network's mining controlling capability, it's called as 51% attack. So this is primarily a kind of an info security attack on a blockchain network. So as a blockchain network grows and acquires new mining nodes, it makes the chances of 51% attack taking place less likely. Because if you grow the nodes, like in NBFCs, when banks used to tell, if you do more disbursement, your NPA rate will come down, because as soon as you do the loan, it will be only in standard asset. It will take some time to really slip into NPA. So you can suppress NPA by giving more loan. To whom is the question, of course. Same way, you are expanding the nodes. Then what happens is your hash rate automatically changes. This is because the cost of performing 51% attack in a tandem with the network hash rate is substantially larger, because you'll have to attack a lot more nodes in that. That's why. Essentially, the bigger the network, the more the nodes that are participating in it, the more hash power is needed to control over 50% of it. But imagine that hash which I showed you for such a small one, people create 51% attack. Imagine what kind of hash they'll be creating and what kind of GPUs they'll be using, the powerful computers, and the powers that they'll be consuming so much of electricity. I mean, God only can save this world, I can say. Metaverse is a very important thing in the blockchain technology. We all know about metaverse now because Facebook has changed itself as an entity to call this as Meta. Metaverse is one of the first public blockchain in China. First, they started in China. Their mission is to deliver user-friendly tools, which we call it as developer-friendly tools, because they are now moving from user to developers. and ease of use interfaces. So actually, I don't know how many of you know about it. Even Taj has created their own metaverse Taj unit, where if you are using a virtual reality glasses, you can get into the metaverse and experience Taj hotel. Like this, many of the people, even driving cars, everybody will be selling cars through the metaverse now. You will experience a test drive in the car yourself, as if you are testing it out. Metaverse is going to create, and there are opinions. I don't know if you know, PwC has already started office in metaverse actually. Yeah, not in India, but internationally they've done that. Many of the audit firms have started opening the metaverse offices because they can give opinions there. It will become NFTs. Those opinions will be, as you do put your wood in, it will become NFT opinions. And you can charge for that as well. Maybe they will be paying you in Bitcoins or other things, or maybe in American dollar or Indian rupee as you negotiate with them. You need to be in metaverse. Everybody should be in metaverse. What is the crypto's legal position in India? So RBI from 2013 to 17 have been giving warning circulars about potential financial, operational, legal, and customer protection and security related risk. Only in 18, for the first time, they gave a ring fencing circular directing all entities, such as banks, MBSIRC, payment systems, to stop dealing with virtual currencies or providing services to facilitating any person or entity dealing with settling virtual currencies. Ring fencing circular was challenged in Supreme Court, and because Altel was the one who went to that ring fencing circular, because it affected many others also, unfortunately. So they got the order set aside, this entire order of RBI. So right now there is no specific order by RBI banning anything, but however it's not approved. In the year February 2019, Inter-Ministry Committee submitted a report to the committee to propose a specific action to be taken in relation to virtual currencies department. Unfortunately, today we are sitting. There was a proposal to introduce this bill in December 2021, Cryptocurrency and Regulation of Official Digital Currency Bill 2021. They couldn't place it before the Parliament in the winter session, so they may be introducing it in next session, possibly after the president election. Cryptocurrency accounting. I'm talking about accounting, then coming to taxes now. So I've already spoken about technology, or where are the users, what are the things happening. So now coming to our basic things, our day-to-day bread and butter. Only country in the world which is using Bitcoin as a legal tender is El Salvador. That's the only country. No other country in the world has recognized any cryptocurrency as legal tender. Among the corporates, big corporates, Tesla has bought 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and keep it as part of the balance sheet. Digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, are intangibles as per IFRS and American GAAP. India also, it is an intangible. So it is recognized at cost. If mind the cost incurred, that is, if you do a POW, the cost incurred will be for the reward will be the considered. The cost of incurred can be power cost, depreciation of server, employee cost, and all can be added there. Or if you buy it, you will have to buy it. Like the way being bought by Tesla, they bought it in the exchange, so they bought it from somebody else. Intangibles are tested for impairment and all losses are recognized. Important thing is, I want to tell you before that, if a person having a Bitcoin, see, many people will have this doubt. Can I go and buy Bitcoin from the exchange from the original creator? No. Only those who have done the POW and obtained Bitcoins will sell. So they will only be gaining. Please understand, all these guys have put their effort only by spending the electricity, power, the time. While if they've acquired in, say, 3 years back and today they are selling it, its entire money is their income. For the buyer, today whatever he is buying is the cost. While coming to accounting, the intangibles are tested only for impairment and all losses are recognized, while gains cannot be recognized in intangibles, as we all know about it. So what happened in Tesla, in case of Tesla's full disclosure, you can all see it in the SEC filing. You can also download to see this is from exactly from their own financial statement as they disclosed. Actually, even in their September 21 accounts disclosure, they mentioned about what they've actually obtained, purchased. They were accepting cryptocurrency Bitcoin for selling cars, but that was suspended, the practice, in May 21 because of the US government certain kind of restrictions they have put in. However, imagine like 1.5 billion they bought, right? In December 21, we recorded approximately 101 million of impairment losses resulting from changes in the carrying value of the Bitcoin and gains of 128 million. This 128 million is primarily out of stocks that they were holding. That is the Bitcoin on hand up to May 21, which they were accepting for selling the cars, that they converted into dollars. Now, what is the Schedule 3 amendment that happened last year, which both for IGAP, Ind AS accounts everywhere? Note number 5, one, where the class number 9 says that where the company has traded or invested in cryptocurrency or any virtual currency during the finance, the following shall be disclosed. Profit or loss on transaction involving cryptocurrency or virtual currency, amount of currency held as on the reporting date, deposits or advances from any person for the purpose of trading or investing in cryptocurrency. So this is a requirement. Institute's guidance note on Schedule 3 explains how to deal with that. It's a very, very small paragraph. But this means that you are expected to disclose in your financial statement by the companies. So this is for companies. What happens to individuals and all that? Individuals, when you're filing the return, if their income is above 50 lakhs, you need to give the AAS. In the AAS, you have to include this as asset. Because it's an asset they are carrying. It's a receivable money. So you need to include it. You don't have a choice. So this is from the disclosure Schedule 3 perspective. Now coming to taxation, income tax I'm talking about. So again, a very important decision taken by Government of India, even though the legalization or acceptability of these currencies and also in terms of the crypto assets have not been dealt by any department or RBI right now. So there is a limbo. Today, there is no clarity whether it's officially legally done or illegal. They've been cautioning the people, that's it. While taxation part, whether it's illegal money also, it has to be taxed. If anybody smuggles, that income has to be taxed. So income tax has changed. They said they've actually defined what is virtual digital asset under the definition of section 247A. Any information or code or a number or a token, they covered everything here. Not being Indian currency or foreign currency, generated through a cryptographic means or otherwise. See, this all otherwise are the typical Babu wordings. It will go up to court, Supreme Court, I can tell you. All otherwise, what are the things otherwise can be included? There will be a big debate between technical people and others. By whatever name called, providing a digital representation of a value exchanged with or without consideration. See, again, with or without consideration. So even if you gift music, suppose I know, say I'm just giving example. I know Sanjay Subramanian personally. Sorry, I don't know him. I'm just telling. If I know him and he is going to give me one NFT of one of the songs that he sang, it is without consideration, but still it is a transfer. With the promise or representation of any inherent value or functions as a store of value or any unit of account, including its use in any financial transaction or investment, but not limited to investment scheme, and can be transferred, stored, and traded electronically. And B and C, any other digital. This is actually B is okay. They are only talking about NFTs or any other token of similar nature by whatever name called. So NFT is being transferred without consideration as per A. I'll get caught. C, any other digital asset, as the central government may by notification in the official gazette notify. So this is humongous section. I can tell you this definition has to go to Supreme Court, has to be tested out, because the amount of transformation happening in the blockchain technology today and the value of transaction that's going to happen. Honestly, whether IAS officers applied their mind before drafting this or not, I'm not able to say this, but there are challenges here. There's going to be challenges here. I'm also addressing that in one of the slides, in the ensuing slides, why it is so. And the tax on transfer of VDA. First, they said all gains should be taxed at 30%, whether held as capital asset or not. So you call it as, here they said the holding period will be above 36 months, short-term capital asset, less than 36 months, long-term capital asset. But tax rate is 30%. What is the big difference is going to have? Cost incurred on acquiring the virtual asset, no other deductions are allowed in computing capital gains. If at all you incurred any cost, that cost can be adjusted. No set off is permitted of any of the heads, or even if you have other losses in other VDA, that other VDA loss cannot be set off against this. So losses to nobody, gains to government 30%. Carry forward of losses, that is also not permitted. Because anyway, it's not allowed even this year. Why should it be allowed in next year? So no point in doing carry forward of loss. So simple. In today, I don't know whether because of government introduced this, the entire market crashed. Entire cryptocurrency world market crashed as soon as this was introduced in the budget in February. January, as I was telling, it was $3 trillion economy of the cryptocurrency size has come down to 1.5 trillion today. So it's only lost, no gain. I know. I want to wonder, will anybody make kind of a gain in this and pay tax? That would be only IT smart kids who are into ethical hacking, who does this POW work and earn the money, and they sell it in the market in the trading, and they gain that out of it. Whatever maybe even at just $20,000, if a kid got, if a boy, I mean, I know one boy who is doing this. He's just 21-year-old boy. And if he sells 2 Bitcoins, I think if I'm right, he's having around 10 to 15 Bitcoins with him minimum. If he sells even if he sells 2 Bitcoins today, it'll be 20,000 into $40,000 he'll be getting. So you will have to pay 30% tax on that. The next is tax on gifting of VDA. As I said earlier, the definition property under section 56 has been amended to include virtual digital assets. So they have also amended 56 to 10. So any person receives any previous year, blah, 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 as well. Again, first April 20 of the year 2017. So even if it has been given prior to that date, that is up to, that is even though it was introduced in this February, they have amended up to up to the year 2017. So even past transfers will get taxed. The TDS has also been brought in. TDS, of course, there is expecting some clarity in this regard now from the CBDT, because it's applicable from 1st July. They said transfer of any virtual asset at the time of credit to the account of the resident or at the time of payment, whichever is earlier, TDS obligation arises. 1% on the value of consideration to be paid. It will be humongous value. Imagine $20,000 per Bitcoin. I have to pay 1% of it. Substantial amount. So the buyer, or if done through exchange, can be by exchange. This is very important. Earlier, they have not said about exchange. Now they've given a clarification that exchange can also do it. But will exchange do or buyer do? Imagine 2 individuals dealing with that. Then individual has to do, like the way for immovable property we are doing, we have to do it so that there should be a form and they will be doing it. I think they should be enabling something in this regard in the portal. And they've given just non-applicability for some small pattern of value of 50,000 and 10,000, which is, which is completely irrelevant. And specified person they defined as individual, HUF, and everybody included. So it's completely to be included by individuals have to do that. You don't have a choice. So if you seek the direct tax, they've introduced a new class in the asset as a definition. They've introduced a tax on gift and also on the transfer. Amended the property also, the definition, so that includes that 56.2 includes that. And the TDS has been brought in. Indirect tax on that. GST Council in the recent meeting discussed this. NFTs like, sorry, I started typing, I put a separate slide here. Various crypto items and its GST implications. Today, NFTs are the one which are the artwork, fashion and lifestyle, and the music, etc. Each one of them will be will be handled differently. I thought I'll give some examples of it, that's why. Artwork is a physical artwork. So NFTs are created attaching to a particular artwork. So I create an artwork and then create an NFT so that it becomes an authenticated original version of one. Today, I mean, I don't know how many of you know about this joke of Javed Miander when he hit the last ball 6, and he won the Pakistan cricket for them, right, against India. With that one bat, he went across to various countries in Dubai. Then he went to Muscat, he went to Qatar. He just auctioned one bat and said that this is the bat in which I scored 6. And effectively sold some 8 bats or something is what I'm told. That's not possible in NFT, because NFT identifies one bat, which is the original bat in which he is going to do. Then that becomes the one bat in which he's going to sell this. So they imagine the value of it then. But it's a sale of bat. So then you need to be taxed as a normal goods, like the way you pay IGST or GNGST, whatever is that. No, you are actual as per the normal tax that you pay for the artifacts. Fashion and lifestyle. This guy Manish Malhotra has actually fashioned NFTs and created certain new dresses. And in this case also, it's only sale of goods of 2.8 lakhs. And he's only selling textile. And he's been taxed at textile. So NFT is only a means of commercialization. The commercial product which is being sold is what is being looked at from GST perspective. While currencies, blockchain, for example, if you look at the items like Bitcoins and all, Bitcoins are all currencies traded. Whether GST will applicable on that is what is government is thinking. Government wants to tax it, and they are considering 28% tax on that. So if that also comes, I think I'm expecting the Bitcoin to go down to $10,000 then in India, because Indians are the one who are actually investing massively in that. Music is a very interesting thing. You know that online information database access and retrieval service, OIDR, which will be subjected to IGST. You all know about that. There are experts in the IGST. So in case of any kind of just music, as it's not a physically tangible one, it is always hosted in the online one. So what actually happens is, with an NFT which I attach, for example, Sanjay Subramanian's own music being added there, it will become a supplier supplying the music, but under the OIDAR. So it will be discharged as it under the GST, under the IGST. So from the crypto items perspective, from NFT perspective, this is what it is. While cryptocurrency, the council is considering now might introduce 28%. We'll get to know about it in a couple of days' time. So asset of a digital content, I want to elaborate here, because under the IGST definition, OIDR mean to mean the services whose delivery is mediated by information technology over the internet or an electronic network, and the nature of which renders their supply essentially automated and involved in the minimal information, all that. So they effectively, it actually boils down to anything that happens through the network of computers on electronic form, including advertisement on internet. Please understand, this will apply to ads provided on the internet. So digital media content, online, even all these guys who put it on OTT, all the films that are going into OTT will all get taxed under the IGST. What is that government has done so far in blockchain? Indian government actually started a secured logistic document exchange program. Already 3 banks have been working with that. ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, and SBI and HDFC Bank have developed this together. And Axis Bank has already launched the first LC. That's the next slide I'm talking about. So SLD platform is a solution to replace the present manual process of generation, exchange, and compliance of all the logistic document with a digitalized, secure, and seamless document exchange system. So your entire commercial transaction of goods will happen through this mode. Then it will be completely secure. It is Aadhaar and the blockchain-based security protocols are being used. Complete audit trail for the document transfer, faster execution of the transfer of the entire transaction, low cost of shipping and overall carbon footprint. You need not courier any document to anybody. Easy verification of authenticity of the document to lower the risk of fraud. Literally, bills payment fraud will be 0. Banking system will get cleaned completely if this is going to be fully used. LC opened. Axis Bank in Jan 22 successfully opened the first LC. Aslal Nippon and Lalit Pipes, they've exchanged their LC advising as well as digital presentation of underlying trade documents, including invoice and transport documents, done through the blockchain. So any bank will be happy to do this particular bill to be negotiated because it's a secure, definitely proof, original document, properly validated document. Burger King India, it's a first QSR, means quick service restaurant, to introduce NFTs as a gratification. What they did was they created NFTs of digital collectible or the asset created in the case of. What they did was they created a meme competition during IPL. And what happened was they actually given awards to 2,400 people who created an excellent meme promoting Burger King along with IPL matches, all the match days. Everybody was given NFTs. NFTs were exchanged for burgers by them. So first time blockchain technology is used to create an ad promotion by Burger King India. And the closing thoughts, where are you now on technological pathway? Where to go? That we need individually, we need to assess ourselves. Are there others in the industry I can learn from? From whom I can learn from? There are many, even within our CA practice, we can learn from. Do I have right vendors? See, many times we might have ideas. We might even tell the client will also agree to implement. But do I have right vendors to deliver? There are some, but they are, see, many of them are still working as proof of concept basis. What we call it as only POC basis. Commercially deliverable methodology yet to come in a big way, except those which I told about the items. So the investments are larger, so people are finding it difficult. Given blockchain is the main potential use case, should I just assume my function needs it? Can we say that as audit function, do I need it? What if you are going to be an accountant in an, or maybe a CFO in a company, do I need it? Everybody needs it, including us. Including the CA profession needs it. Imagine banking going to be completely decentralized, not from CBS. Imagine banking going to go through a complete change in which today, for example, I'm just giving example. Today, any NEFTs and RTGS works up in a particular way because it goes to a centralized server and then connects between the banks. If you are going to introduce blockchain, there is no need to go to centralized server. I can transfer money to somebody in Madurai in a flash of a minute, because between the peer-to-peer network, that is, I am part of a distributed ledger technology by which I hold a bank account, and this will be run by the banking system only. Bankers will have they establish a blockchain methodology which can be cross-platform. So I am with HSBC account holder. I want to pay to another account holder in ICICI Bank. Between two blockchains, there should be a validated document. It need not go to a central server. So what happens is, even if somebody gets a hacking, that's something, many of us have seen that there were thousands of numbers of the debit card numbers and the PIN numbers have been stolen, like that we say. That will not happen in blockchain. If at all, it will be only two players will be affected. So in a way, things are going to change. We can expect in next 10 years, things are the way we are doing audit. Many of the things that we check today may not be checkable at that point of time, because it will become completely redundant and irrelevant to check at that time. So what are you going to do? Even tax authorities can change the way they do the assessments. It's going to bring in a lot of changes. So let's be prepared for that. Thank you all. And I can now just take some questions. I think there's somebody have put in chat something. Once again, hold on. Only country that cryptocurrency is Israel, and they are suffering because of huge fall. Yeah, of course, yes, is right. While there is no backup for mining and nobody knows who is mining the virtual currency, why the government is not banning the same? Which China has already done, in my opinion. Dealing in Bitcoin is nothing but gambling. So perfectly, sir, I agree with you on that. Government should ban cryptocurrencies which are not backed by economy. No doubt about it on that. There's no second thought on that. However, government, why it's cautious is that it's not, there is a very thin line. There's that yellow line between the cryptocurrency and other digital assets are thin. So they want to create a clear demarcation. that bill which was introduced, even though I have not seen the text of it, but I'm told that some people who have been part of the committee which was working, I've been interacting with them. They have said that government has considered all this actually. Yeah, somebody was asking about 194. Yes, sir. I think that's one slide I covered. Maybe I'll again cover it up again. Once again, I'll just go to that slide one. So every buyer has to do this TDS, sir. Like the way immovable property. When you sell the immovable property, you're doing it, no? Every buyer has to do that. Buyer has to deduct 1% of the consideration and pay to the government. TDS. The aggregate value, here they said buyer, if not done, then they can also do it by exchanges, what the government is now reclassifying. They have now clarified the position. The value of aggregate value of consideration payable by the specified person does not exceed 50,000 in a financial year. So only when if it exceeds 50,000, you need to deduct it. The value of aggregate value of consideration payable by a person other than the specified person does not exceed 10,000. That is for the individuals, it's 50,000, sir. Being an individual or HF. Who are not having income from profit of gain or business or profession, and whose sale gas receipts turnover from the business carried on with the profession does not exceed 1 crore rupees, 1 crore rupees in case of any business, or 50 lakh of rupees in case of profession. The specific person have been defined. The value is 50,000 and 10,000. That's it, sir. Any other questions? I think the chat, I think that's it, right?
Any questions from members? So I think there are more
Positive
questions.
expectation. I hope I know I've covered the whole lot of it in this.
Yes,
I hope
yes,
the expectation of all of you are you want me to cover something. Maybe we still have another 30 minutes more, so I can talk example. I need not have a kind of just PPT for that. So any other questions also you can ask.
Jain sir, you looks like you have something to add.
No, I will not add. I will ask only. Narasimhan sir, can you just throw some more light on this set-off thing actually? They said set-off is not allowed.
Sir, now, no set-offs are simple, sir. Government has simply made it very easy. Gain, you pay tax. No other income can be set off.
One type of cryptocurrency, because see, if I buy 10 coins and I sell it in tranches, so only those transactions which are going to earn profit are going to be considered.
Yeah.
And say if I bought 10 coins at different intervals, I sell all 10 at one go.
Yeah.
Now it's a one transaction, few may have profit, few may have loss.
Yeah.
So they are going to just take only the...
Okay. They said loss arising out on transfer of VDA. So transfer of VDA is when every transfer is individual transfer is what government will consider. So it will actually make it that if you sell over the period of, say, in every month you sell 10, some small portion, and in maybe 5 months you have a gain, another 5 months you have a loss. It's even same coin, it's only Bitcoin. I'm just not even another coin. And with the same folio number, whatever, I mean, in this they are not calling it as folio number, it's called as hash number. Where I have an identity number, the identity number is same identity number. I've done that. Till, I mean, the department right now, as you know, they will consider that only the gains are independent transfers, the losses are independent transfers.
No, the trouble with the gain will be, sir, like in capital gains, we are very clear that you have to follow first in, first out.
Yeah.
Now here there is no such thing. So I will say, no, this is, I'm correlating it with X, Y, or Z.
See, the problem here is actually the cost, as of today, the cost is quite minimum. Unless you, well, but one thing which I want to tell you, you can identify the cost of buying, because if you go to the, if you are buying from the exchange today, in any of the exchanges, the trade book that they have is with the buying date, the respective items. at the individual cost. It also gives the average cost for you for any of these exchanges. Crypto, I mean, many of the exchanges are there. Let me not name them, many of them. In all the trade books, if you see, I mean, if any of you dealing with, by the way, I want to ask in the audience, has any one of you ever dealt with any of the cryptocurrencies? Buying? Okay, nobody has answered.
Chartered accountants are all cautious.
Jain sir is
Cautious,
Jain.
yeah. So in that they give, so you can identify one-on-one, and when you sell it, you have to
Narasimhan
identify
sir, it is generally, if you see, we will not be able to identify it. It is a stock exchange, whichever you are dealing in, whether you are dealing in VCPE or whatever.
But
those
they
platforms.
give a statement. They give an electronic statement.
Whatever they give, we'll have to finalize, not what we want actually.
Yeah. But you can use miners to validate this.
We can use
Miners. That's what that was actually in one of the slides I was explaining about how transactions are getting validated by people. And for that, there are people who do mining. They do actually what we call it as, there are two types of activities who are done by the just miners. That is, people who mine, they do what we call it as proof of work. Okay, I explained that. I'll just now again share that slide. Okay. See, this proof of work is what people, the hackers and all, will work, take the coin, and they make money out of it. The other one is mining. Here I said, crypto mining is where you do a validation of transaction. So you can ask for the validation of transaction here. There are agencies, companies which are providing this validation of transaction. I even showed an example of Haryana-based company, which is running across India. To my knowledge, around there are 30-40 people who are actually running like this. The biggest problem in India is because of higher electricity costs. They are not able to spend that kind of money. So you can use them to do this kind of validation. I'm told department has also found a mechanism to validate this to this kind of people.
So what about those who are into mining, sir? They will get the benefit of all the costs which they are getting involved.
Yeah, they need to have a books of accounts. Actually, one of the CA member only from within the state of Tamil Nadu, from Erode or somebody was talking to me. His client having a mining center in MBSIRC in Chennai, where he has been mining. He has put some huge investment of 6 crore investment. He has done it on the computers and been running for. He has mined coins. He wants to know how to account that cost. What is the inventory? What is the value of it? How to account it? So I gave him the accounting. I gave the opinion for him, not in kind of writing because it's informal opinion. I told him that it has to be intangible. I can add all the cost into that. So he determined over the last 2 years, there are 6 people working on the shift basis. That cost, the power cost, the kind of asset depreciation in terms of that, all that. Whatever is intangible standard permits, take all that. At all the 3 stages, was it in the development phase? Was it in the, at each of the phases? Added to that, it should be capitalized as per the standard. So that's what they do. That cost you can consider for the purpose of when you sell it. But still, it won't be this high. Right? Today, it's ridiculously high market. Even today, after 50% fall. So
there is one more question.
There is one question. Yeah. How do we test? This is a question, ma'am?
Impairment of digital assets.
Yeah. Okay, there are 2. One is if it is a open market traded item of digital asset, like any cryptocurrencies. You have the value available in the market rate. For example, Tesla, they've invested in the Bitcoin when they bought it in the exchange. Today, in December 21, as there's a fall in the price, they've decided to take an impairment provision. Again, it is not MTM. Because impairment, intangible standard doesn't permit you to do MTM. Intangible standard has to evaluate you for impairment. Like the way you do an impairment, you have to do a valuation. That valuation has to happen to determine what is the best. So out of that, what I heard from the financials of Tesla is that they've evaluated, they've not taken the full loss up on that date. They've evaluated that what will be the permanent diminution in that. To that extent, they've created impairment. So you can also do that impairment like that. So you need to methodology of valuation. If it's any other asset like NFTs and all, NFTs you need to see, because NFTs are becoming unique items. What is the underlying asset in that? Is that a physical asset or a digital asset? As I said, example of Sanjay Subramanian's song, for example, become an intangible asset because it is only in electronic form. It's not a tangible item that can be, but that is something which you can still sell. If you have a market to sell, what is the value you are carrying and all that to be taken in. While individuals, when they keep it in the books of accounts, you don't test for impairment because you don't publish balance sheet for anybody. So in the individual books, there is no impairment testing done. Only in corporates and business, or maybe in LLP or partnerships, you do that.
Anybody else? JK, you have anything to ask?
Have you all expected something? There's one new message. Okay, got it. If you all expected something in mind that this is what I want to understand, have you got that answers or?
Sir, actually, there are some questions which are there in the chat which got missed. There's one from
sorry,
CA
maybe you have
Narasimhan
missed.
S.
Can you please read it out? Can you please read it out? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So please throw light on taxability, both GST and income tax on exchange that provide crypto trading.
Okay, exchange gets what? Their income is what? See, exchange, for example, is only a trading platform. It's only electronic exchanges, these are all. So they get maybe a small service charge or maybe a fee or whatever you call it as. That there is no TDS, luckily. Right now, government has not introduced that. But it is a service charge. If it's happening in India through the electronic platform, IGST will apply. IGST at the appropriate service rate, which is 18% today, will be applicable on that service fees that they are charging. Like we all pay on the Swiggy service charge, the Zomato service charge, IRCTC service charge. On that, there's an 18% charge comes in, no, the GST. That's nothing but IGST. That's what it is. Any other question? Which I missed out?
No more.
Okay, one good question. India can ban advertisement before banning the crypto. I agree, but because they are not able to decide on the crypto, they are leaving it, and advertisements are killing the market. I can tell you, everybody is getting enticed with that. And at least every week, one guy will ask me, "Can I get into Bitcoin?"
Narasimhan sir, top cricketers coming and advertising, sir.
Because they have paid so much. And I'll tell you, I mean, this again, I'm told, again, I don't have any empirical data, validated data, don't hold me for this. I'm told many cricketers, Bollywood actors, politicians have all invested in cryptocurrencies. That is one of the reasons why there's one lobby which is working towards it, that not to ban. But banks have stopped the tap. That is what banks have done is, if you have to, now if you have to go to an exchange to buy suppose, anybody wants to go and buy Bitcoin to an exchange. You can't use your credit card, you can't use your debit card. What you need to do is, they will ask you to open a PayPal account. You will have to transfer to your PayPal balance or like some wallet that they would have created, which will maybe somewhere outside India. On that wallet, you have to first top up the value. That top up will be in dollars actually. You have to send the money to LRS methodology. Because LRS, you are permitted to transfer money, but your bank, so generally people, what they do is, they use the credit card, they don't use the debit card. Credit card and make a dollar payment. And then then they only pay to the credit card payment. When you pay for the Indian credit card, there's no LRS is not applicable. So it escapes LRS, unfortunately. And then on that value that is kept in the exchange value, they do the trading. But how secure they are, will they be there to available? We don't know. God only can. Well, but I'm told everybody, all the biggies in Mumbai and Delhi have all opened their own accounts, and they're all having in a big way. And even some of my school friends, I know they have invested there. I've been talking to them. They are keen. Some people have made money also, no doubt about it. But they were not able to repatriate money back. It's stuck there. They are not able to bring the money into India. as an individual, as Indian rupee collection. So those challenges are there.
As of now, also it looks like a bubble only, sir. Like this Bitcoin.
Yes.
I remember we had a session in Madurai branch in the month of June, where Bitcoin was trading at 35 lakhs. Today it is half to 17 lakhs actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was actually just, I was actually, that graph you would have seen. It's phenomenal. $31,000 to $65,000 to $20,000 in exactly 1 year. In 1 year, that's a kind of, it's complete speculation. Those days we used to have this horse races. I used to tell, at least in horse there is a jockey, there's a horse capability, the age of the horse. I can do some empirical analytics. I can maybe take there are actually scientific algorithms created that based on the weight of the jockey and the weight of the horse and the age of the horse, the galloping force, they can determine which will come first. In this, nothing of that kind. Why it moves up, why it goes down, nobody knows actually.
There was one currency, Luna, sir. It lost full value, which was trading around India 8,000 rupees.
Yeah.
People lost a fortune in that.
Many currencies have gone like that. Cardano is also like that. It's gone deadly. Deadly means deadly. People all lost money like anything in that.
That's fine, sir. It was a very wonderful session. When we were discussing about the topic, I thought how we are going to cover the entire cryptocurrency in 2 hours, and you have wonderfully capsuled it in the available limited time. Thank you very much, sir. May I call upon the Secretary CA Venkatesh sir to announce this vote of thanks.
Good evening, one and all. Respected MBSIRC Chairperson CA Manimegalai Madam and today's speaker CA Narasimhan Sir, it's my privilege to offer vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of MBSIRC of ICAI, I extend a really sincere thanks to our speaker CA Narasimhan Sir, who spared his valuable time to address our member on all about cryptocurrency and taxation in spite of hectic schedule. Our deep sense of appreciation goes to CA Narasimhan Sir for delivering and explaining on the cryptocurrency with reference to latest developments point by point, which is the need of the hour, and it is useful to our member. Thanks, CA Narasimhan Sir. And I also thanks our past SARC Chairman, CA PVR Sir, past SARC Chairman, CA DC Jain, senior members, fellow members, women members, and all members, one and all. I also thanks all Madurai branch managing committee members. Again, I thank you for being with us this evening. It's great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Narasimhan sir. Excellent.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for handling this session for Madurai branch members. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all.
Sir, DC Jain, Nalaki.
Yes.